Hey Aquarius, it's Empress Rose here and welcome to your reading. These are general readings. We take what works, we leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your storyline on this reading, which is entirely possible, you can go check your other major placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, sometimes Venus. If I do catch your storyline on this reading, we'll be doing an extended over on Vimeo. The link is in the description box below. And you can join me over there and we'll flesh out the story. Sometimes other aspects of the story come out there. Yeah, for now we're going to do a traditional tarot spread with tarot cards. All right, I've already shuffled and I'm doing a cut here from the bottom of the deck. Okay, we have the world cosmos. So this has a couple different meanings. One is just those large events that are outside of our control. So this is going to be the theme for the reading. The movement of the planets, the axial tilt, the weather, these things, these larger cycles in life that we don't really have any control over, say over, and we're just sort of ships adrift on this larger sea of the universe. So large movements. This is also the final card in the major arcana. So it can be the end of a chapter. I almost always think of this as the end of a book though. This is the end of the book. We're closing the book and we're right back where we started again, right? The book closed, the story over, the story ended, and here we are searching for our next novel to read. But so the closing of a book on your life, you can be, you know, on the surface right back where you started again, but you've had this whole adventure, you've had this whole event that's happened. So we could also be talking about not just larger events in the world, but shaping our lives and causing us to respond to them, but also this closing, this ending of some kind, a large chapter in our life coming to an end here. And this is the closing of the book. All right, Aquarius, here's your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. All right, some tough energies. You know what? Some of these tough energies have been emerging in a lot of other readings as well. It's interesting. So we have this, in your recent past, we have this 8 of emotions. So this is being able to see that where you're at is not satisfying. So you've already seen this. You're already aware of this, that where you're at is not where it's at for you. Right, we're in a barren landscape. We're in a desert here. And we're starting to see that there's really not, I mean, deserts are actually just kind of factually teeming with life. We just don't see it. But this isn't teeming with life for you. Maybe for some sort of lizard or something like that. I mean, but there's not even any cactuses in this desert. I mean, this is like desert. This is not where you're finding your sustenance. Where you've been, you've had some sort of realization, some sort of understanding that this isn't where it's at for you. There's something better, and you're actually able to see it for a moment. You're able to see like, oh wow, this is a barren landscape. This is not bringing me life. This isn't making me happy. And maybe there are lots of critters out here that can thrive, that can that do, this is their natural habitat. They've evolved to live here, but this is not where you're finding your satisfaction or your happiness. And there was a moment where you were able to see that more clearly, where there was a break in the landscape, an opening here, where you were able to sort of get a glimpse into another world, other possibilities, a larger universe outside of where you're at. So, so you started to kind of look through this portal into some other reality, some alternative, like, you know, just imagining. That's basically what I'm talking about. You were able to like imagine more clearly a better life for you or something, or see that there was like this whole universe of possibilities out here. I'm seeing this as sort of like this portal in this ship. You've been in this ship of desert, and you were able to look out this portal and be like, wow, there's like a whole universe. You saw stars, the Milky Way, the Northern Lights. There's a lot out here, and you're sort of in this desert ship where you're inside this desert. And so starting to see possibilities of something much more interesting and much better suited to you and your personality. Your current situation, though, you have the Star card. So you do have some sort of wish come true, some sort of dream coming true here. Maybe a moment in the spotlight where you're seen, you're viewed, and you're being blessed and bequeathed with something that's wanted, that you hoped for, that you were looking for. So for a moment, the light's shining on you here. And you have captured in your hand something you've captured a moment here. And this is maybe even you seeing even more possibilities as the spotlight shines on you. Like for a minute, there's a spotlight that leaves you, and then you actually see where you're at, and you're like, this is not where I want to be. And then here comes the spotlight, it finds you, and it's like you can see something with this small wish coming true. Maybe you can see the possibilities for a larger wish coming true. So there's a blessing here. There's a light shining on you right now. There's a spotlight on you right now. There's the universe giving you some kind of blessing and allowing you to see that the path you're on is fruitful, will be fruitful. You may be you may have traversed a desert. You may be in a desert, but there's this is like almost like the first sort of, cactus that you see, or the first sort of bit of life that you see. And then you start to realize that, if I keep going down this path, there's more, it becomes very rich. And you're getting some sort of blessing or some sort of like, keep going, some sort of message that you're on the right path. And it feels good. It's a good message. It feels really good. Like, yes, I'm on this path. I'm walking out of this desert, and I'm getting my first glimpse of something that I really like, something that appeals to me. In your inner landscape, you have Page of Emotions. So this is new feelings, hopes, fears, inner landscape. This is new feelings, surprising feelings. And that's almost what I feel like you're dealing with the Star card, is something's come in and you're like, oh, maybe it's not desert forever, because now suddenly we're underwater, even though it's emotions. This is like, there was this barren landscape of emotions, and not being satisfied, not seeing what you wanted. Something happens and it comes in as a blessing for you, and you're like, oh, wow, I really do like that. And then now we're basically drowning in emotions, we're thinking about it. There could be a person here too that's sparking some new emotions for us, some new feelings for us that's on our mind that we're thinking about. So this is either a person that you're thinking about, or it's the vibe that you're thinking about, and it's just the Page of Emotions. There's always some surprise. There's always some shock, especially if you've been in the desert. Why would these fish suddenly be in this desert? Like, you just got a glimpse of something, and now you might be thinking about someone who has a lot of emotions, or someone you have a lot of emotions for. And these can be positive or negative emotions, but with the Star card, I'm seeing a lot of like beautiful, and it may be very surprising for you, and maybe unexpected. And this person, so it may be regarding a person, it may be the person themselves, that they're having a lot of unexpected emotions. And there's a lot to explore here, and a lot to sort out and explore. But I just really love this like heart just kind of beaming with the star. It's almost like the heart is the star, and some kind of heart is beaming, and you're in the light of that, right? And it's like, here's your sun. Maybe we had like a black hole situation going here, and then now we have this maybe person with this beaming heart, open heart, shining this, here's how it looks over to me, shining this light, and you're receiving the light from their heart there. So that sounds so cheesy, but that's how I'm seeing it. But some surprising emotions, and you might be worried about that. And it could be someone, it could be about a person. And it's new, right? We have a page, we have a newbie, we have a rookie. The page, some sort of new, maybe a new journey and a new emotional journey here. Surprising feelings, though. And then what's at issue here is this Five of Materials in reverse. So this is about, the Five of Materials upright is about removing yourself from a situation or being alone, often by choice, because you're often right next to something that has abundance. So it can be being left out, but there could be a sense of being included in something, or being accepted by a group, or being bound to a group somehow. It's maybe even wealth coming in, because it's often a poverty card. So this could be about changing. I mean, you've got the Star card here. So this could be about changing monetary situation. It's materials. It's where you've been left out, now being included in things, now being receiving financial benefits, being blessed, where in an area in which you have felt excluded, in an area in which you felt alone. But these I want to say these bonds kind of come in and take you back in. Oh, there you are. I'm just so absorbed in trying to figure out this card, I forgot to look up. But these bonds, these ties that bind, where you've kind of stretched them to their maximum, they're kind of pulling you back in to be part of the group, to receive the blessings. This Five of Materials in reverse is actually really awesome. And combined with this Star card, it makes it look like you're receiving material blessings, and you're receiving some sort of, like the light's shining on you. You're some kind of star. You're receiving something where previously you had been excluded, or previously you had not been the chosen one. And now with this Star card here, and this card in reverse, I'm feeling like you are the chosen one here for a certain situation, not for all of humanity, but for this situation, you are being selected. You are the chosen one. You are included and being pulled back in. I don't see that these bonds ruptured, but it's like a rubber band that got stretched, and now it's pulling back in. So you're being pulled back into some kind of group, or into some kind of abundance that you felt shut out of, you felt excluded from, you felt that other people had this and you didn't, but now we're moving towards abundance. So making sure that your mind is open to that, and that you're able to see and accept that, because sometimes when we've been in a place of lack, our mind stays in the place of lack. It feels safer, it feels more logical, it feels more likely. But as we're being pulled in and coming out of that place of lack, our mind can sometimes stay there as a comfort zone, as a sense of self-definition. I am poor, and this is part of my identity. I'm an outsider, always will be, always have been, and this is who I am. So that when something happens that does pull you into a group, and maybe you've wanted that, you can still keep yourself separate mentally, and then kind of mess up the plan, or kind of not adapt to the new reality, which is that now you're going to be included, and now you're going to receive the blessings, and you want it. So we can want a reality and then be resistant to it when it comes in. So that card, I guess, is warning. It feels like a warning. We also have an environment, 9 of voices, something in your environment causing anxiety. Maybe someone around you having a lot of anxiety and fear, a nightmare. This is kind of called the nightmare card because we're safe in our bed, right? That's what a nightmare is. You're safe in your bed, but you're psychologically not safe at all. And your mind is running a story. I guess we already kind of started touching on this. Your mind is running a story for you that makes you feel like you're in danger and makes you feel very afraid, despite the fact that physically you're safe and you're fine. So with this 5 of materials, I see physical safety, physical inclusion, physical comfort. But there's something in your environment that is sort of triggering fears. It's really interesting because this is in the environment, this card is, and the environment is that you're safe, but the mind is going on its own little path here. The mind has decided to go on a little adventure that the body is not participating in, and reality is not participating in, but the mind goes off on this little adventure. So I find this interesting and confounding to be in your environment. Like, is the environment actually safe? And this is referencing your mind going on its own little trip while your environment has you right curled up in safety here. This would be in safety because it's reversed. In the upper right, we'd have you maybe like left out and isolated and alone. But this has you included and in safety, and we have you curled up here. But the mind, so it's really interesting that the mind is showing up, this card is showing up in your environment. So either something in your environment is triggering this, but I keep seeing your environment's kind of safe and nice right now. But your mind is maybe still attached to some past environment. Your mind maybe is still in this desert, even though your circumstances are changing. So your mind may still be in some sort of past desert that you've been in, right, this is all lack here. This is all no sustenance. This is a desert. There's no sustenance for you here. This is coming out of the desert into a place of sustenance and abundance. So there is a sense where maybe your mind is still, right, with this 8 of emotions, maybe your mind is still thinking you're in the desert when in fact you're actually safe here. So you were in the desert in the past. That's true. No, and you had, it wasn't satisfying, and in fact may have been a little terrifying and frightening. That's true. But taking a look at your environment, and I'd say like assessing it accurately for, safety and abundance and inclusion, that kind of thing. So in your to-do list, we have the Devil card. So this is dealing with bondage. Contracts. The Devil card is always something that feels really good to get involved in and really terrible to get out of. It's not easy to get out of this. But coming under the Star card, it could be talking about a contract, signing a contract, going for it. If there is a contract on the table, I think this Devil card is saying that you do want this bond, right? Because here you are without these bonds. You're coming out of it. You're being pulled into something. And I don't know, like maybe it is worth it. Like this can be contracts. This can be addictions. This can be anything that limits your freedom. And it is possible that at times we do want our freedom limited, right? Because no one would sign a contract if they didn't want what was on the other side of that, the promise on the other side of that. But this could be becoming obsessed with something, a bit of an obsession. That can be healthy for a time, although I'd prefer to see 4 of coins here. You could be dealing with looking at, maybe you need to be looking at addictions, obsessions, what limits your freedom. Because we have you coming out, we have you like emerging from a time of isolation, but it's like triggering your fears. So even though you might be safe, that it's somehow reminding you maybe of some time when you weren't safe. And this Devil card deals with freedom and deals with a lack of freedom. So what are you going to I mean, are you trying to, freedom's so important and so crucial, right? And sometimes I think that we have to make choices in our lives between power and freedom, between safety and freedom. There's so many things that can come in that can be like really important and really good and look really good, but what freedoms are we sacrificing for them? And sometimes we do want to sacrifice some freedoms for some things. It's just something that we need to make careful choices of and be cognizant of. So maybe this Devil card is here is just like, be aware of your freedoms, be aware of what you're giving up, be aware of the trade-offs. That doesn't mean don't decide, don't go here. It just means like have some awareness. Just tread carefully, right? If we're going to make a deal with the devil, and maybe you want to, I don't think they're all bad deals. You know, people get married all the time, and right, that's a loss of freedom, but they seem to be happy with it. Many people do seem to enjoy that and to enjoy the trade-offs and the benefits of this bond. So what's interesting is the devil is a bond. It's maybe not the healthiest bond. It's maybe not the safest bond. It's got some sort of kernel, some sort of pearl at the center of it that we want. And this Five of Materials is talking to me about bonds as well. And these bonds pulling you back in. And then in the possible outcome here is Five of Voices. This card's made the rounds lately. Five of Voices is about making difficult choices. There's not going to be an easy answer here, right? If we're just here examining and looking at some sort of bond, some sort of contract, some sort of something like that, there's just not going to be an easy answer. Somebody's going to get hurt in the process. You're going to lose a limb. I mean, not literally, but you might end up losing a limb and you get to pick which one, but you still have to lose something. This choice doesn't come without a cost. So there may be choices in the future, decisions, and the path won't be clear. The path won't be easy. There won't be some easy path and then some hard path. And you're like, well, obviously I'm going to go on this one because that one looks hard. Or it's going to be more like, well, this one goes exactly where I want to go, but it's brambles and I'm going to be a scraped up mess by the time I get where I want to go. This one doesn't go where I want to go, but it is a lot easier. It's a lot simpler. So, so that kind of choice coming up here is taking paths. One may lead where you want to go, and it's just going to be a confusing offer, I guess, or a confusing situation without a very clear answer. And I like this card. I hate this card, but I also like it because we have a lot of this in life. There's not always easy answers or clear choices. There are trade-offs for everything, and we've already been talking about the trade-offs. So there will be trade-offs, and you have to decide what you want to trade, what you're going to give up to get what you want. And again, it looks like a deal with the devil here that we're dealing with here, and the possible place where we're going is having to make a choice, having to make a decision, and none of them are going to be easy. So yeah, looking at this deal with the devil. All right, Aquarius, I hope that was helpful for you. We're going to go look at these energies a little more in the extended, hopefully get some understanding of what this devil is, what's going on with this choice and decision. So it looks like you have an opportunity, but it comes with some kind of cost here. All right, well, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in a couple weeks or maybe over on Vimeo. So